Pregame.com.
Super Bowl week here on Pregame.tv. I'm excited here again with Bryan Leonard and with Vegas Runner. I am merely Steve Fezzik. I was feeling pretty good about these videos. Bryan and I rolled a 5-0 last week. We're going to roll out the Hawaii 5-0 music, but we're going to tone it down a little bit because I got two gentlemen on hot streaks. Bryan, you're 18-5 on your three-star plays, and VR 42-18. It's very impressive on your three stars. Great run.
Thank you.
Hopefully you can help us.
Hopefully it continues.
Hopefully we get some winner and some videos. We're going to lead off today. We're going to talk about some Super Bowl props. I'm going to go ahead and give out a free bet, and then we'll just kick around props real quickly here. And I'm going to look at the running backs for the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to look at Ray Rice. We're going to look at the backup, Bernard Pierce, and that's where my prop, I'm not going to give it away quite yet, but I'm looking at those. May I ask, are you looking more player props or more other things to bet on the Super Bowl?
As far as player props, Steve, I think you got to be real selective. And you got to go in more or less already drawn a conclusion on what side you like and how the game is going to go down. That's at least how I look at it. I think that the problem, though, with playing the player props is that if you go in with a bias on a team and you start playing your player props based on that bias, you could get crushed that way. If you're liking Baltimore and you start playing all these Baltimore player props over and stuff like that.
Yardage.
And they get killed, and it's one of those games, Super Bowls, which we've seen tons of blowouts over the years, then you put yourself in a position to get crushed. So I think you got to be able to separate yourself from what you like for the game when you do props, but at the same time, you got to go in with some kind of plan on how you think the game's going to progress.
That's a great point. And Bryan, let me ask you this. If we get used to betting 1-2% of bankroll on plays, but when it comes to Super Bowl, when you've said you had up to 100 bets in some years, do you find yourself betting things that are so correlated you got to scale back all your bet sizes on them?
Yeah, you definitely have to. And we kind of talked about that in one of the things we talked about earlier today. Will there be a missed extra point? Right now, there's a 15-1 out there that you can bet, but you're going to really tie up 15 units on one bet.
Right.
And as you pointed out, that bet loses. Everything you've done for the last 2 weeks goes down the drain.
Right, and on that missed extra point, what are the true odds? Like 2% that you might have a missed extra point tops? I know Akers is coming in there like on one leg, right? And he's injured, but he still should be good from within 35 yards.
That's the thing. You know you're getting the best of it on a lot of these plays that are asking you to lay chalk like that, because most casual bettors aren't going to do it. They're going to bet the yes and stuff like that, hoping to get the high plus money. So you know if you come in and lay the chalk, you're getting the best of it. But I agree with Bryan. Do you really want to put that much money out there?
Well, what you do is you get a whole bunch of those. You get the no safety, you get the no overtime, and you get 5 or 6 of those. And
you're holding your breath for 60 minutes.
You know, it's interesting. One of our good friends, Sean Hess, we were out of the bar years ago, and I bet that it was 16-1. And it happened to be one of those football games that had tons of touchdowns. Every time they scored a touchdown, I'm holding my breath.
But you're saying 16-1, so you laid 16
I laid
to win
16-1 at Coast.
Exactly.
And
not
now,
1 to win 16.
No, not at all. But like right now, there's projected to be roughly 5 touchdowns in this game. So you got 5 times to.
You're going to be holding your breath
as you go on. It's not a lot of fun. I'll tell you.
And they call these bridge jumpers because you get ready to jump off the bridge. There goes your bankroll right off the cliff with it.
The guys that go to the track and bet the favorites to show.
That's what
$2 to win 20 cents.
That's why I bet tons of these no's, but I didn't want to give it out as a free play. I wanted to give out something that somebody could just lay $1.10 on. And one thing I'm looking at is the Ravens with the running backs is that everyone knows about Ray Rice.
That's all the talk.
That's all the talk. But all the money's coming against Ray Rice, and I'm doing some research. Why is everyone betting Ray Rice down from under 66 yards down to under 62 yards? Look at his backup, Bernard Pierce. He plays every third series. He comes on in. He's from Temple. He's been playing great, but he got hurt. So in the Denver game, he only got 5 carries. Against Indianapolis, he picked up 13 carries, and then subsequently against New England, even though he came in questionable, he got 9 carries. And I really think if he had gotten 9 carries against Denver, which he would have, he went out in the third quarter, we'd be looking at 9 carries or 9.5 carries for Pierce's over-under.
Skewed. The data, you think, skewed?
They looked at the recent data and said his average has been trending, lower because of that 5 against Denver. They're saying, well, they're using Ray Rice more. No, Bernard Pierce was hurt. Bernard Pierce is great also. He's 4.9 yards per rush. And the Harbaughs are smart coaches. They're not like, hey, you're my star. I'm going to give you the ball. Screw that. I'm going to win the darn game. I'm giving it to my guy that gives me the best chance. So that's where I'm definitely looking at it. In fact, if you have no objections, I'm going to go ahead and make it official here.
I like it.
Super Bowl free play. Bernard Pierce over 7 rushes. I expect that aberration in the Denver game where he got hurt, where he only got 5, was an aberration. I expect him to go ahead and get 10 rushes. And what I really like about playing the rushes instead of the yardage is yardage can be more variable. You could get 11 carries, only 28 yards or 58 yards. I think it's safer to go with the 7 carries.
And is that based at all on how you think, what we touched on when we started the video, on how the game's going to go? We know sharp money came in on the under, a lower scoring game, so you're not expecting one team or the other, especially with a points bet of 3.5, 4, whatever it is right now. You don't expect really, as far as the betting market shows, for it to be a blowout. So you don't see Baltimore in a position where they're going to be down 17-0, just have to throw the ball. Does that go into your thought at all?
Well, San Fran, as you know, went ahead and started so rocky and slow against Atlanta that and they still got away with it. So I would think with the rookie quarterback close to being rookie, ease him into the game, and so Baltimore will be in the game, hopefully the whole way, but certainly at least in the first half.
Makes sense.
So we're going to move on over from the big game. Can't call it I think I call it the Super. Can I call it the Super Bowl?
Not in this town.
Not in this town. We're going to move from the Super Bowl here at pregame.tv. We're going to talk a lot of baskets. We're going to break down the Texas-Kansas State matchup when we return.
What a